Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our Challenger Cup for week number 6, North American style. We are your hosts. My name is F. Dot, and I'm joined here, as always, by...
My name is Kret. It's good to be here. We've got a great tournament for you today. This is likely going to be the real decider, deciding the top 2 teams who will go into the wild card and face the bottom 2 teams in North American SPL. Right now, it's going to be Thirst, and it's looking like, but I don't think it's 100% confirmed, Fat Chunks. There's still some room for, I believe, Snipe to slip.
Yeah, it's less about Fat Chunk's performance and more about how the other teams above them do. If they slip in the standings, then they could wind up being number 5. But as it stands, I think I'm pretty confident that we're going to see Thirst and Fat Chunks in that relegation, especially if we see more Ares Aphrodite.
All right, well, we're going to be heading into our first game of the day. It's Versace Crew versus Disney Rapunzel. Versace Crew we've seen a few times, often casting them in the first round because I really like Versace. And the Disney Rapunzel is actually a secondary team coming out from Disney Princesses, who is technically running 3 teams this week.
That's incredible. We have Cognitive Gaming, who does 2 teams, but Disney Princesses is one of our amateur teams, our Pro-Am teams, actually. I'll give them that Pro-Am title, and they have 3 whole teams. So it should be rather interesting to see. Bans are out. Should be seeing the first ban momentarily. What are you expecting here, Kret?
You know, I don't know. I mean, this is going to be the first, sort of high-res tournament played on this new patch, so things will definitely be a little interesting. New Wob banned away. We're not going to be seeing Sylvanas this week. He is banned out, but I think the meta is going to start shifting, and I think the biggest blow is Bakasura solo lane. Previously, very strong. Now, your starting build has changed, or at least probably has changed.
Personally, I still think Bakasura solo lane is going to be top tier.
Sure.
You have the option of going that heavy hammer with no hog because you have eat minion, or you could forego the heavy hammer and get the hog and then get heavy hammer second at 1350. That's not too many waves, Kret, so I think that's all right. I think Bakasura is, in general, he's going to see a slight hit, but should still be very effective.
I mean, his early game was so strong. Going heavy hammer and hog was so important. And it's just the compounding of heavy hammer and hog. Hog in the solo lane very early on allows you to exert jungle pressure, exert lane control. It is really more about hogging those buffs than it is hogging in lane, which can be useful, but it's a little bit harder to use. And then having the heavy hammer on top of it is what was so strong. So now you have to pick. And that's a more interesting dynamic. But maybe Death Toll will see a resurgence. Either way, Ra first pick. This is super important because Ra is basically the best team healer in the game. I'm not including Aphrodite because she heals single players. She is very, very strong. But she can't heal a whole team the same way Ra can. And the other players in contention, it's like Guan Yu, kind of. And hell, but she feeds, probably. If she doesn't feed, she's great. We were just discussing this on camera. Hell is a fantastic character when you are not feeding uncontrollably.
You're probably just going to go 2 and 5, though.
Yeah.
Before team fights start. Second picks are out. Versace Crew picks up Rom and Serket. Serket has recently fallen out of favor due to the fact that Deathbane was only hitting 2 out of 3 times on the new patch. We should see that fixed. So once again, she returns to her top pick status.
She did actually get a little nerf, though. I believe Ambush got an increased cooldown, which was really good because Serket was too good at not dying. Like, hi-rez looked at her stats and they were like, well, everything seems in line except she doesn't die. Yeah, and you want every god to die a decent amount.
Yeah, I think that should be an effective nerf. Shouldn't really impact her top pick, top ban viability, Kret.
Right.
I don't think it'll impact how she works, but she'll be less safe, which I think is really, really important.
Yeah, I mean, she was almost as hard to chase as Loki, sometimes harder, just because she has 2 jumps, 2 full-length jumps. Like previously it was like Fenrir was the guy with 2 jumps where you could actually, it's less good on the current Conquest map, but on the original Conquest map you could get through a lot of walls without Brutalize, and you had the Ragnarok for the movement speed. Now it's just her cat has so many movement abilities, so that's still the case, just slightly less powerful. So we're gonna see a pretty standard Hunter matchup. It's Athena, Apollo, Geb, and Rama mixed and match, but not Hunter versus support, of course.
Right.
This is pretty standard. I don't think it's going to be changing in this patch at all.
Yeah, no, Geb is still #1 tank overall, in my opinion. Athena a close second due to the nature of the global.
She can be better than Geb if you use her global ult properly. And you also have to use the fact that her initiation is every 18 seconds. All you need to start a fight and pop some beads is dash into taunt. Geb, it's Blink Cataclysm, which, while better initiation, is much less frequent.
Yeah, you get a wrong Blink Cataclysm and you just waste your cooldowns. Athena taunts and misses. You can go back in less than 20 seconds later. We're going to see a Chang'e picked up. I really love Chang'e. Perhaps not as much as DM Brandon, but I think that Chang'e is powerful. I love the term that, I think it was actually Brandon who used the term magical bruiser. Chang'e wants to be up front. The low cooldown on her #1 ability allows her to be in and out. I love the Chang'e choice, and okay, they're going to switch over to what looks like Hun Bats for Disney Rapunzel. I would have liked the Thanatos against the Chang'e and against the Geb, and especially against how slippery Cirquette is. Thanatos is great at picking up runaways and things like that. We're going to see Hun Bats and Chuck round up Disney Rapunzel's lineup, which changes their methodology completely, Kret. Instead of looking to pick up those stragglers, they're looking to create hell throughout the team fight, and Anubis is locked in. Kret, please control yourself.
Okay, so here's what happened.
Ra.
The Chang'e was picked to counter the Ra. And Disney Rapunzel was like, okay, you want to counter our Ra? We're going to pick a Chuck, put Chuck in solo lane, put Ra in mid. Chang'e is bad in mid. She just doesn't bring enough to the table. Her clear isn't good enough, and you lose mid camps because you're going to either tank a lot of archers or lose them to tower, or, you know, whatever. It's bad. So they pick up Anubis, because Anubis is the other... Well, I mean, I don't want to say Chang'e is a full counter to Ra. It's a good matchup that you can win if you get the upper hand. And you can win it hard. Anubis is actually just a counter to Ra. He has the ability to kill Ra. And it's... like, that sounds so simple, but when you actually think about it, that's very hard to do. Ra is very fast, he can heal himself, but Anubis is a great carrier for Divine Ruin, has so much damage from his ultimate, and without an Aegis Amulet against a good Anubis player, you'll still die. Beads is not enough. I mean, like, Beads Heavenly, maybe you'll survive, but it could be rough. So now it's really going to be on Disney Rapunzel to punish this Anubis. There's a lot of downsides, and the big thing is, at a high level of play, if you miss a wrap, you're probably dead.
Exactly.
The other question is Anubis going to build more defensive? He does have a really good passive. He's got it has built-in lifesteal, has built-in CC reduction, is built-in protections, a little bit similar to Guan Yu, so you can build defensive and still do really good damage because you have really high base numbers. Or is he going to go for more of that like full damage lifesteal glass cannon Anubis build, which is all it's fun, it's interesting, but you have to position and play perfectly.
Yeah, I think the damage Anubis would be better this time around, not just for the Ra situation, but also just for like minimizing the rest of the people. Hun Bats will be interesting. It's all up to Thouface Killer going to be the player playing this Anubis today. How his mechanics are. Anubis has to stand still for the majority of his damage. That brings into a lot of questions about spacing, etc. Disney Rapunzel, I want to see them put Chalk in the middle lane. I think that would be good, and sort of just test the Anubis player. Because while we mentioned that Anubis is a hard counter to Ra because he can just outburst the healing, it's incredibly mechanically dependent, and you could just say, all right, we'll put Chalk in the middle lane against you know what has to be either you put Chang'e in the middle lane, which you don't really have as much of an impact, or you put Anubis in the middle lane and you're going to feed. So force them to make that choice. I don't know if we're going to see that, but I would love to see it, Kret.
Well, either way, we'll see what happens. Last little thing I want to mention is Anubis is... There are lots of gods that are hard because they're bad. Like, AMC is hard to play because he's not very good right now.
Yes.
Anubis is hard to play and he's bad. Anyway, we'll be back in just a few seconds, guys, with your first game of the day. Disney Rapunzel vs. Versace Crew. Stay tuned.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first game of your Week 6 North American Challenger Cup. My name is F. Joined here in turn by Kret. Today we're going to be seeing Disney Rapunzel versus Versace Crew on the all-new, brand spanking new Spectator UI.
Yeah, really excited to get this going. And Disney Rapunzel's is going to be Black Sai playing your support Athena, Diamond Reaper on that Hunter Apollo. In the mid lane, we assume it's X SAT Penguin, X on Ra, moving targets in the jungle as Hunbots, and Too Many Apples in the solo lane as Chalk.
Over on the side of Versace crew, we're going to see Thou Silent Killer on Gab supporting the ROM, which is CDS. We're going to have Aqua Kangaroo and assumingly the solo lane while Anubis plays middle. That is up to interpretation. It's looking like Anubis is going to go middle, Cret. But that's a rough spot for Anubis to be in.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so here's the thing about Anubis. He is one of the best clearing characters in the game. I believe there's a threshold where your one-shot the wave, or with the entire duration, will kill the wave at level 1 with enough magic power. I believe Soul Reliquary and Vamp Shroud hits that. And because of his lifesteal passive, when he eventually gets a tiny trinket, which shouldn't take too long, and the Vamp Shroud, he'll be able to heal up a decent amount. It's really about the jungle pressure and Anubis's inability to reposition, but in terms of lane control, he is very strong.
He's just unfortunately one of the most gankable characters in the entire game.
Yes, I mean, sort of, right? He does have a little bit of the same turnaround potential. Well, not the same, but a little bit of the turnaround potential of Zhonghui or Chalk, where you gank them, but they are so scary when you get close to them that they can turn you, especially with jungler help. And we actually do see that mid lane getting cleared so fast. Ra immediately pushed on your tower. It's going to be a very strong first few minutes for Anubis, at the very least.
Seeing immediately some sort of aggression coming out from Disney Rapunzel. And Athena has gone into the back camps of Versace crew. Going to go ahead and steal these back harpies. This is a strategy, Cret, that we've seen increase a lot during our SPL matches and stuff like that. It definitely is very helpful, but Athena starting with that Hog 1, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, well, we'll see how it ends up working out, but you do have to be a little bit careful when you're rotating back there. Not too much punishing coming out on Black Sea, and he will have his Hand of the Gods up in time for the mid camp, so not too worried about that. In the solo lane, Too Many Apples and moving targets are actually taking a lot of damage. Chunga doing a great job in this early matchup. Circuit very scary too. Nice teleport in, no crit there, was looking for it. That said, there's an experience advantage on the side of Disney Rapunzel. They need to make use of that, but they also need to be really careful.
Ra's going to be rotating over here. This could be very good for Disney Rapunzel, but instead he's just going to chase them out. Protect his red buff for his jungler. That's going to be a big deal because Versace crew sort of showed their hand. Whether it was an intentional bait to try and get some extra poke out or not, it remains to be seen, but red buff will not be going to the enemy team. And now SAT Penguin caught out a little bit. Good stun, but it's only level 1, so it's only going to stun for
and diminishing returns.
And DR, of course. It came out after Madness, so it's not going to get a lot of that effective stun, and SAT Penguin takes minimal damage, and it's irrelevant because he will just heal it up. Both mid lane jungle combos head to their respective red buffs.
Yeah, that's going to be level 5 for SAT Penguin. Also will be healing and leeching on that back harpy camp on the right-hand side, so nice efficiency there. Thou face Killa, the Anubis, not going to do that. Ra should be fine in terms of clear here if he plays it properly. His beam and his heal when placed on the creeps will be enough to clear them. So it should be not instant, but full clear coming out from both mid laners. And then actually speed buff just getting taken down by Thou Mad Killer. That's an interesting decision, and what it amounts to is that he's going to have the buff he wants to have when he really wants to have it. Like, speed buff side is a nice advantage, but the value of speed buff is the movement ability, and having it for the mid harpy fight can be really nice. Unfortunately, Hunbot's just backed. This means there's a distinct advantage in favor of Versace crew. They will be able to secure both mid camps.
Thou Silent Killer getting caught out. There's the heal and the taunt into the Celestial Beam. A lot of damage onto this Geb right here, but the rest of the team is here to provide some sort of backup. Ultimate onto Athena from the Circuit is good. Down from the air comes crashing Apollo. Another ultimate coming out from the jungler. That's going to warrant an escape. And fantastic play coming out from Disney Rapunzel to turn a good situation into a bad situation back into a good one.
Yeah, that really did work out, and it just comes down to not quite respecting the fact that Hoonbots wasn't there, which means he will be eventually. So you just have to be aware of where these players are, where they're going, and what they'll have available to them. Hoonbots was level 5, and Versace crew, they did know that.
Anubis goes ahead and unleashes his ultimate, so we'll see that on cooldown for a number of minutes, or a number of seconds rather, a little bit over a minute on that Anubis cooldown. But Anubis's ultimate in lane cret is something that you can burn, sort of like Ra's ultimate. It's not a short cooldown, but the CC immunity is almost irrelevant because there's no character like Naja in the game, and it makes you stand still, so it kind of CCs you on its own. And then beyond that, there's no escape from it. So burning that ultimate is all right.
Yeah, it definitely can be okay. And you know, it is nice to be able to do damage while you're getting CC'd, but I don't know. It's not really something that we can set up. We're having some issues on our side, so we're gonna go to a brief waiting screen and get this sorted out, guys. Stay tuned. We'll be back in hopefully around 2 minutes.
Thank you for waiting with us, folks. We have returned about 7 minutes and 40 seconds into the first match. Disney Rapunzel up by about 2 kills. A little bit of gold in the lead as well. We take a look at the graphs, and they're leading by 2,300, which actually, this early in the match, is a pretty significant amount.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really nice lead. The experience is, not, like, okay, so, like, double experience for what you have in a gold lead is really nice. Like 4,000 experience would be really substantial. 2,000 is definitely something to talk about. It's going to be an advantage. Moving target in the middle lane is going to get hit by that Circuit ult. The combo was awkward between Anubis and Circuit, though. It's not going to result in a kill, and with Ra there, moving target doesn't necessarily have to recall, but it looks like he's just going to get some experience and then back in the solo lane. Let's check out the Chalk versus Chang'e. And you know, Chang'e is being pressured pretty hard.
Chang'e's already going to have to go back to base. You know, this is an interesting matchup, Cret. Chang'e does have some base heal reduction, but the way Chalk's heal works, it's kind of okay. It doesn't do as much as she probably wants to. That said, Too Many Apples is going to go ahead and dive the tower. Very interesting choice here. Not doing any damage yet, chose to walk past her and clear the wave so that he wouldn't aggro the tower earlier than he wants, and actually not even going to pressure her. Just went around and hit the wave so that she has no help. That's actually really high level.
Yeah, I love it. SAT Penguin in the middle lane. Does he have his ultimate available? No, but Hoonbots is going to come in with the teleport under the tower. Not quite able to find the kill. Circuit's movement is very good. She escapes less than 100 health. Diving in tier 2 at 9 minutes and 20 seconds. Turns out to be the wrong decision for moving target. But I like the intention. And, you know, as you mentioned on the right-hand side, the proxy clear, not true proxy clear, but close enough from Too Many Apples will result
battle
in
proxy clear.
Yeah, exactly. And what's great is it either forced a rotation or took the tower, and there was no rotation, so that tower is down. It's only 500 gold, but the lane pressure is getting bigger and bigger. Chang'e doesn't really have anywhere safe to be.
Yeah, I absolutely love that play. During the fight in the middle lane, we also saw a kill go the way of Disney Rapunzel's Diamond Reaper. Just another kill onto this Rom. Pretty standard, honestly, from what we've seen in this lane. Rom at the moment sitting 0-1-0, but has been forced out by the same mark about 2 or 3 times now. Just taunt from the Athena into heavy aggression from Apollo. Apollo sitting level 11, Rom sitting level 10, so a little bit of a disconnect right there. Black Eye taunts Geb into the shield wall. He's going to take about half HP down. Weird interaction with one ultimate into another, thanks from Assassin to Geb. And now Man Killer takes down the support. Black's Eye is going to be down for about 20 plus seconds. And 5 members of Versace crew are sitting in this middle lane, Cret. They are going to fan out. Could they? They're actually going to fight near the Gold Fury, but play it safe.
Yeah,
they realize that they're a little bit below, but
Chalk's actually going on Anubis on this right-hand side. That's going to be an Anubis ultimate forced out. Apollo in the air will come down. Not quite finding a hit, but that Hoonbot's ultimate is good. And Aqua Kangaroo taken down so quick with the So Beautiful. Now on the left-hand side, Thou Silent Killer could be in trouble as Athena rotates back in. Chalk getting bursted and taken down. As CSTG is able to find a kill with that Astral Barrage. Now Too Many Apples will continue to force out the Rom. The snipe will not connect from Ra, and Rom will likely go down with the cooldown. Nice slow coming out from Anubis. Can he get the fadeaway Thunderstrike? Wants it, but he's not gonna. Oh! No, not gonna find
I like the choice right there, and
Yeah.
really good play coming out from Face Killer, just providing the zoning with that. And actually, Disney Rapunzel is going to try and grab a gold here
totally
off of
can.
this. Versace crew had the positioning before, forced them out was the blue team, and here they come, jump in from the Circuit. Good stun by Anubis, but blue team still has control over this area. The Hog goes down, and the first Gold Fury of the match goes the way of Disney Rapunzel, now leading the game 5,700 gold, just shy of 12 minutes in. Disney Rapunzel looking very strong in this first match of the day.
So I want to just go back a little bit and explain what happened with that Circuit ultimate into the Geb ultimate, where the Geb ultimate did not connect. It's a little bit similar to Tears Fearless in that it's a grapple effect and technically a disjoint, a little bit similar to a jump. So because of the way you're moving during the Circuit ultimate, you're technically not on the ground, and you don't get hit by stuff that happens on the ground, such as Cataclysm, or I think more easy to notice is Kukulkan ultimates will slide right through people in certain phases of the Fearless, and will slide right through people in certain phases of that Circuit ultimate. It can be strong to push people out of position, but you have to be very, very careful with the timing. And speaking of being careful, Gab on the right hand side is in a horrible position.
Face Killer surrounded by blue, and he's going to go down to the hand of moving targets. Hunbat's getting another kill for his repertoire. 2, 2, and 3 is the slash line of our assassin monkey. And right now, Disney Rapunzel just looking absolutely vibrant. They're going to go ahead and pick up both mid camps. This is the second or third time where they've gotten all three. Great Taunt is going to interrupt the Deathbane. Ambush is still there, and she is going to be safe. Good peel stun coming out from Face Killer. Anubis really on point with those wraps, doing a good job, but good, not great, as his he is about half leveled behind his enemy mid laner.
Yeah, you know, Circuit's the one character where you can interrupt a dash and she won't die for it. Good damage onto Athena, nice stone shield, and that's just going to be a disengage on the right-hand side. Speed buff. Looks like it did go to... No, it went to Circuit, so no steal, no invade. They are chalk. I want to talk about really quick, level 13, sitting on a sprint, does have his heavy hammer and is on Slay with 32 stacks. He's in a really nice position right now. Chuck is a character that does very well when ahead, and it's just going to... How can too many apples leverage this? Like, what can he do aside from what he's currently doing and bullying Aqua Kangaroo in that solo lane?
I kind of want to see a level 3 sprint rush come out from Chalk right here. He's got the heavy hammer, the penetration boots, and the Onkile. If we see a level 3 sprint rush out, we'll see a lot more beatdown potential from Chalk. I actually want to see sprint 3 before some other items. How do you feel about that choice, Cret?
Possibly. I mean, if he thinks that's going to be enough to dive the Chunga, which I actually don't think it will be because she's building into a breastplate
stunned out in the middle. Good jump. That could have been problematic. And that's all of his escapes, folks, using his ultimate for more defenses and moving targets. That poison won't kill him. Just very interesting situation there for moving targets.
Right-hand side, diving under tower. Stormcall will get the kill. The tower will return it now. Interrupted out of Raw on the right-hand side. Thou, silent kill. A body blocked into the wall. Nice damage from Anubis, but not quite connecting where he wants to. And the rotation out from Diamond Reaper. Good mez. That's going to be a really nice poison to clear some space. Thou Face Killer forced to back off, and there's so many Thou Killers.
This is great pressure coming here in the middle lane. 3 people forced out due to low HP. Can't help this fight. Stun is going to miss from Face Killer, so that's going to mean the entire wave and 4 members of blue on this enemy tower. Around the back comes moving target, but that ultimate was used defensively, so no kill secure right there. Cret, if Hunbats wasn't caught out 30 seconds ago, Fear No Evil would have secured at least a triple kill.
Definitely, but that was probably the best Fear No Evil I've seen in about 2 weeks. So I think it's okay. He really should have been dead there. CSDJ just rolled into a horrible position. Fear No Evil, not necessarily needed,
just in case.
I mean, it really secured that kill. He had no way out. He was not able to get up in the air, and his ultimate was available. And the big scary thing about Rom is oftentimes he can buy just enough time to turn things around.
Right, similar to Apollo with Mez, etc. We're going to see all tier 2 towers down as Apollo picks up the left tier 1 tower with good old Apollo split push. He's going to ult away. He's actually going to ult into the mid lane behind Anubis. Gets the knockup, but immediately gets stunned into the ground mechanic. A lot of damage coming out onto Face Killer. Here comes Circuit. Ultimate out. Dash in is Apollo. He's going to be all right. Heavy dot on him, bring him down to about 55-60% HP. That's going to send him and his support back to base. Ra pushed up very far, has a single ward on the right side, but with the entire Versace crew on the right side of the map, should be all he needs.
Well, I mean, the big thing is the Circuit ult is down, which is the primary control counter to Ra. We did mention Anubis being counter, but at this point I think Ra is actually in a good enough spot that he's not too worried with that Warlock Sash.
Right, exactly.
But that Circuit ultimate does reduce healing reduction, or reduce healing to 0, or reduce it by 100 to be slightly more accurate there. And we actually haven't seen a great Circuit ultimate. It does have a lot of setup potential. That's really the primary use of it. The secondary use being getting that full catalyst proc for that 20% max health reduction.
Silently.
Yeah, that was a really good play, and the reason it worked is everyone from Disney Rapunzel backed. So there was absolutely no information on anyone rotating out of lane. They weren't there in the first place.
I feel like that should be an intentional play, but I don't really think it was intentional there. I think it was just serendipitous that everybody was around. There was no
moving target.
Yeah, moving target is just going to take thou mad killer this time around. Circuit, his way back might be caught out. No stun, but he's surrounded by damage, and moving target's going to fall. Just hand to the Geb. Diamond Reaper trying to make things happen. Thou mad killer goes down. That's the Anubis. Thou silent killer here. All right, Geb's going to hit that fall to the Ross.
No more killers.
Gets another kill. From now on, folks, we're going to refer to Geb as silent. We're going to refer to Circuit as mad, and Face as Anubis, or vice versa. Chalk trying to 2v1 in the solo lane. Good dance coming out from Chunga. And Too Many Apples needs to find some way to get out of here, because while he is level 16, those are two, that is a Rom and a Chunga. Could be very bad as we see mid tower go down.
Yeah, mid tower is going to get taken down here. Nice, really good transition from Disney Rapunzel. They have a lot of gold right now. Looking at gold in hands, they're also looking pretty good. We'll be spending around 9,000 across the entire team, but it's just really important that they transition into taking towers now. They've got the gold, they've got the experience, but it doesn't do anything unless you pressure that lead. Otherwise, you just eventually hit 40 minutes, and suddenly your gold lead and your experience lead don't really matter that much.
And to that point, Cred, I really like what Too Many Apples has been doing, although I don't like his positioning right here, surrounded by people in red uniforms. Too Many Apples has taken the tower and since pressured the entire jungle, moved over to mid lane and pressured over there. Good taunt rotation coming out from Disney Rapunzel. Shield onto Geb, so that shield is going to be on cooldown for a number of seconds, actually, but no more aggression coming out from Disney Rapunzel, despite the fact that Hunbats does have his ultimate, so he will be able to do that. But not going to opt to play it safe. Athena's going to go ahead and back, and successfully back as well. So Disney Rapunzel right now, about 20 minutes into the match, sitting pretty at 13,000 gold lead, and not too afraid of too much.
Oh, moving targets needs to be afraid. Will be able to get his Fear No Evil off before he dies. Also does dodge the Waxing Moon with the help of Circuit's ultimate, just immuning that one again. On the left-hand side, CSDJ will... Oh man, he's not dead yet. 2 auto attacks flubbed by Diamond Reaper. Really wants to get this kill as Rom rolls for his life. That Apollo ult should seal the deal, but he really didn't want to use it here. And then CSDJ dodges it now up in the air. This actually might work. Lands 3 hits. So beautiful. We'll get the kill. Rotation out from Athena with the ultimate just in case. I like the decision there because she didn't really have anywhere else to be. And just make sure that Diamond Reaper doesn't get collapsed on. He had some trouble getting that kill, but in the end, he was able to get it. And honestly, I think the rotation from Versace crew could have come a lot faster.
Yeah, definitely could have come a little bit faster. That seems to be the motif of this match, though, Cred. Good rotations coming out from Disney Rapunzel, just leaving their enemies in the dust. That's pretty much the reason why we only see 2 towers left on the board for the red team. Versace crew caught out a little bit. Gab the support. About 50% HP thanks to a good taunt. Zoning coming out from Anubis again. But Apollo doesn't want to let this drop. Rap's going to miss, and the moves will secure that kill for Diamond Reaper. Apollo going to sit pretty at 6-0-3. Somebody. Interesting, Cret. He opted to sell the Heartseeker and go for the Devo gloves. We lauded the decision. He's 6-0-3. Maybe Heartseeker would have been the better choice.
Potentially, but the Devo Gloves gives him sustain.
Hindsight
so...
is 20.
Exactly. He didn't know it would go that well. Fire Giant getting very low. Nice Bots ultimate.
Great ultimate.
Will secure that, taking down Thaumat Killa. Now that face Killa could be in trouble, is ulting the middle of the team, and that's not going to end too well. SD Penguin in trouble, doesn't have any healing, and will go down. Aqua Kangaroo in a bad spot as Shock gives Chase nice Thunder Strike. I feel like he's going to DJ Pernicus here. Does not happen. CSDJ goes down to Apollo without, but that ultimate Aqua Kangaroo will fall as well. Geb respawns, so it's not technically a DSI, but I think we can call it an unofficial one. And now we're going to see some Phoenixes go down.
Middle Phoenix is undoubtedly going to go down. I would love to see the rotation over to the left-hand side of things. Not only is the wave pushed up, but there's a tower there furthest away from the Fire Giant. That said, Chalk is going to split right all by himself. This is a Chalk very far ahead, so I don't think anybody will prove him much resistance right there. Fighting is this level 13 Circuit. The support's 2 levels higher than the Assassin. Not a stellar choice. Right Phoenix will go down to the hand of the Mayan man himself, Chalk. Too many apples.
There we go.
He's taking damage, but he's got that self-heal crit. He is Chalk. He's built Oncule. A lot of passive protections right there. And more damage coming out. Diamond Reaper just cutting through this enemy lineup. Silent Kill his shield on cooldown. We're going to see Disney Rapunzel retreat. They get the mid Phoenix. They get the right Phoenix. They're going to go ahead and back. Expect them to run up this left-hand lane.
Honestly, I want to say that was a little bit sloppy because we were both watching that fight on the right-hand side, what was happening on Phoenix, and it was primarily Chalk. Athena came in, so where was everyone else? What did they do? Left tower still up. I feel like Apollo was just chilling in the jungle, maybe didn't get a speed buff, so I'm not really sure where he was. Probably could have been spending his time a little bit more efficiently. I think he's going to pull the gold tree here and just clear that off the map because it won't take that long, and Shock and Athena running back from base anyway. And you don't really want to take the tower and try for the Phoenix when you don't have 5 members of the team, and they do. Red buff is something that really should be taken by Disney Rapunzel here. They will spot it out. They will take it. This is super important because it's such a big damage buff at this point in the game. Ra does not have Fire Giant right now, but he's got 425 magic power with red, so it's probably giving him about 80.
80 magical power.
From red buff, yeah. It's crazy.
When you think about it, folks, Bancroft's Talisman provides 100 plus, and Thoth provides 100 plus. And
gold.
Yeah. Good ultimate coming out from Geb. Gonna stun 2 members of Disney Rapunzel. Great zoning coming out from the monkey himself. Respective ultimate. Moving targets will fall, but that death in exchange for the Phoenix is more than okay for the team of Disney Rapunzel. More aggression coming out. They're diving into the fountain, trying to get some kills. Silent Killer gonna go down to the hand of SAT Penguin. Jump in from our level 14 Circuit, and Disney Rapunzel right now is playing very aggressive crit. That would be a good time for a retreat, but we're not seeing that. Stun coming out from Versace crew. CS DJ very low. He's gonna fall as well. Too many apples can pick up kills. They don't mind. Tighten down to 0%. That will be the game. 24 minutes in, 23 kills to 9. Disney Rapunzel takes your first game of the day.
Well played by Disney Rapunzel there. They're going to be moving on to the next round. And so we're taking a look at Acceleration. I just want to check to see who their opponents are versus That's a Padlin. So That's a Padlin is an old school amateur team. It's a team that me and Moji scrimmed against a lot of times. I believe Proudfeet's still the team captain there. They're playing up against Acceleration, who we saw in week 4, their first week. We thought their last, as they did disband, but they have reformed. And they're technically a princess team. They actually have like 4 princesses on their roster. So we're going to go from Disney Rapunzel to, I suppose, Disney Acceleration versus That's a Padlin. I really like that this community group has 4 teams in the Challengers Cup. I think that's really cool.
It's a lot of fun. I honestly love the Challenger Cup. The competition we just saw in that last match was honestly really spectacular. Too Many Apples has been... it's very interesting where we've seen this team come, Cret. We've seen Too Many Apples in the beginning of the Challenger Cup do all right and progressively just get better and better as the week go on. And that's really why we show up here. We show up here to see like the next big thing, but also to see good players turn into great players. And Too Many Apples was average once upon a time. Now I think he's approaching that. I know what I'm doing. I'm learned. You're going to have a problem against the solo lane, and watch out. Chungas certainly did, and to his credit, Too Many Apples, definitely one of the more impactful members in this particular game for Disney Rapunzel. Stay tuned. We're going to get into our next match of the day. We'll see you soon. Don't change.